Jubilation erupted in West Baltimore after prosecutors charged 6 police officers over the murder of Freddie Gray, whose death in police custody sparked the worst riots to hit this city since the assassination of Martin Luther King in 1968. For the residents of this poor district, there's a sense that justice has finally been served. But Freddie Gray's death was just a spark that ignited a tinderbox of long-standing frustrations for the African-American residents of this city.
It's actually surprising this hasn't happened sooner, that we haven't had this kind of protest much sooner.
Baltimore was once a thriving steel mill city, but as manufacturing jobs have moved out, it's had a disproportionate impact on African Americans who face chronic unemployment.
When my grandfather was coming up here and raising a family, he had no college degree, and yet he could get a job at Bethlehem Steel. And he could solidly lift himself from poverty. He was poor in Virginia, came to Baltimore and put our family in the middle class. And that just doesn't exist anymore.
It's rough. It's rough. You got to be a tough guy to come out, grow up out there, man. And if you, when I was young, I did not think I was going to see 21.
The official unemployment rate for Baltimore is said to be 9%, which would be around 24,000 out of 650 or so thousand Baltimoreans that are unemployed. Those numbers do not jive with what we see on the streets every day.
Without an education, you ain't really getting a job. I mean, McDonald's might be behind you, might, you know what I'm saying? But no education, that's out the question. You get it by any means necessary, as I said earlier.
On some estimates, you know, particularly among black males, and particularly black males between 18 and 30, the unemployment rates is more like 50%.
Finding a job is tough for young black men living in the city's poorer neighbourhoods, but it's exponentially more difficult for those who've returned to the city after release from prison.
We know that 12 to 15,000 prisoners are released in the state of Maryland every year. And many of them settle in Baltimore City, and Sandtown, where Freddie Gray was, is the zip code with the highest number of returning citizens.
You know, the first thing you do when you're growing up here, you know, you learn all the wrong things to do. You know, it's basically you learn all the wrong things to do, which include breaking law. You know, drug dealing. That's the biggest temptation. You know, because growing up you don't have no money. You start off not having nothing, so you going to where going to getting the money.
So I don't know what the official numbers are, but we know when they return, they repeat crime, and they repeat crime over and over again because there's just no other way out here to make money.
There's been several times where I've been giving my all, coming out every day and searching for a job, trying to find a job that's going to help secure my future or get me on the right path and get my mind straight. And the moment you're getting turned down because of something that you encountered in your past. Some of us we're less fortunate enough to not have the proper guidance or the tools that can get us further. So that was one of the things a mistake that I made, like so many others, and now you pay for it.
There is just no way that as our economy has morphed from a manufacturing and industrial economy to a service and technology, we haven't had a transition plan for that particular population of folks who don't have, more than just a basic education. They've been lost. And what we did, right, somehow we as a society, we allowed the drug trade to be the major source of employment for sort of like that demographic. And the unrest that we see, the protests, and in some cases /unrest, that we see proliferating across the country is a result of the fact that now some of what we have seen in isolated cases that was kind of swept under the rug, right, has now been illuminated by video recording devices and surveillance cameras, right? So it's no longer one of those things like it's dirty, it's in my house, and nobody sees that my house is dirty. And if you came in, you wouldn't see it because I sweep it under the rug. Now it's in the light.
The recent tumultuous events here have cast a harsh spotlight on what residents call the two Baltimores, the wealthy area down near the harbour and the inner city neighbourhoods that are home to people like Freddie Gray. But the issues exposed by Freddie Gray's death are not limited to Baltimore. They are repeated across America and have the potential to flare up in any major city. Dimitri Sevastopoulos, Financial Times, Baltimore.